Welcome, everybody, to what's going to be the first edition of the Track Report. I'm Chance Kirby, who my co-host, Coach Marsh, likes to call everyone's, what am I?
You're Pilot Point's favorite son.
Pilot Point's favorite son, which is laughable. And I'm with, he's not everybody's favorite assistant coach anymore. We can finally call you a head coach. I'm with the head girls track coach, Travis Marsh.
Here I am. And disclaimer, Malaya is home today.
Yes.
So if you hear
anything,
the good news is she is without her brothers, so there will be no vampiring or all the other stuff that they get into.
There's less likelihood for trouble, but
yeah,
I still suspect some.
And Ra, the sound engineer, is not here to play memory with her.
Yes.
So I'm on dad duty as well. But, yeah, you seem a little bit more chipper with a track report.
I like track.
Okay.
Not that I don't like basketball, but I do like some track. But speaking of basketball, do we want to do some housekeeping real quick?
Absolutely.
Take it away, assistant. Everyone's favorite assistant.
Yes,
basketball
back to
coach.
the assistant. So our district is finished playing due to Callisburg losing by about 40 at the hands of Dallas Madison.
Unreal. Where was that at?
Where was the game played?
Yes, sir.
It was in Denton.
Denton.
Yeah, and Coach Price went, and so I would be interested to hear his report of what in the world happened. Callisburg scored less points than we did and allowed way more points than we did.
Could it be something like the March Madness where the number one seed kind of struggles that first game and then they get it back straightened out and then kind of think we're not going to let that scare happen again?
Judging by how intense their coach was on the sideline, I bet you there was a pretty intense practice that followed our game.
Got their attention, so to speak?
I think so. I think we were the wake-up call of, hey, you actually do have to play.
Yeah.
But just to clean up basketball season, since we're here, let's go ahead and we will talk about all district and just go ahead and get it out of the way. Hats off to Avery Smith,
Launchpad
Offensive Player of the Year for District 10 3A. That is pretty awesome for sure. Ish Harris is a first-team All-District player, and then you have Jay Cox and Rowdy Robinson that are second-team All-District. Rowdy is the only freshman present on the list. And so that is quite the accomplishment for him. Then Ish is a junior, and then Jay and Avery are both seniors. But it's awesome that we got a superlative with Avery being the Offensive Player of the Year. And this is voted on by the district coaches. The other coaches from the district saw the value in these guys, and they voted them in. So pretty impressive nonetheless. Now, on to track. Sorry, the soundtrack to my left.
What are before we go to track, let's take a break.
Okay.
And then we'll come back to track and start from scratch.
All right, sounds good.
There is no better source for local news than the Pilot Point Post-Signal. Pilot Point Post-Signal has been covering Pilot Point since 1878, providing award-winning top-notch coverage of Pilot Point and the Pilot Point Bearcats. You can start your subscription today by going to postsignal.com and signing up for their special, which is 2 months free of the digital and print copy, or you can call their phone number at 940-686-2169. The Pilot Point Post-Signal, the best source for local news.
Cat fans, one thing that I love about walking into the field house is looking at all the old pictures that you have from years past and being able to relive the history of those great teams and great players. And I love walking through with my sons and showing them a picture and saying, man, look at that guy, and telling them a story about a great play. And you can have the same opportunity to do that with your family by using Ashley Marsh Photography to capture your family's great memories. Seeing those pictures of your family will allow you to talk to your kids or your grandkids and tell great stories about things that you've done or things that you've seen or just funny memories that you might have. So if you ever want to document your family's history, please contact Ashley Marsh Photography. You can find her on Facebook, on Instagram using Ashley Marsh Photography, as well as her website, ashleymarshphotography.com. All right, so big thank you to those sponsors. I'm going to come just hard and fast back at you.
Wow. We haven't even started yet.
I know. I'm starting with making our private text conversations public. The first thing is going to be my usage of the word tracklete.
Tracka.
Yes, you corrected me.
It was a word that, to my knowledge, was made aware to me by my daughter. I don't know if she invented it, but
well,
I like it.
I like track elite. And then when you said track elite, I was kind of like, well, I kind of like that too.
Like athlete?
Yeah.
It's track elite.
Track elite. And so in future posts, our high point track elite will be used.
Okay.
But on the segue of that, this will be disagreement number 1.
Okay.
The high point athlete from the track meet. We've already gotten to a disagreement about how you think that I'm just disrespecting distance kids by including relay points into the high point athlete.
Well, before we could dive into that wormhole, the entire state of Texas has no respect for distance athletes by slanting the entire system towards sprinters and not distance kids. But like we talked about, like you're heading to, is the relays getting double points, where it makes it impossible for distance schools and distance kids to compete. They don't have a relay. They don't have as many opportunities to run. Until 2 years ago, they couldn't even, it's not physically possible to, I guess it is, some kids have done, but to run the 800 2-mile and mile. I mean, there should be a distance medley. And
I like distance
Woodlands has pointed this out many times, and then nobody would change anything, and then they went ahead and won it anyway. But
no, I like distance medley. I'm glad we don't do a 4x8, even though I could see a 4x8 being interesting.
Yeah, because love to see how y'all try to figure out a way to combine that to get it over with.
Wow, shots fired. Okay. But nevertheless,
not y'all. Whoever.
The relays have to be included in the high point count because that athlete, you're penalizing an athlete being the top individual point winner by not giving them points from a relay race that they participated in. Even if they are the slowest leg, they still participated in earning their team 20 points. So, my vote, which I really have rethought it since I told you, was to take the 20 points or 16 or however many points and divide it by 4, and everybody gets an equal share. I think that what should happen is they should get the points that would have been awarded if it were an individual event. So if a second place relay, instead of everyone getting 4 points, everyone would be awarded 8.
That's exciting for this podcast in the future, that we've already bogged down on minutia like this right here. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
That's what bothered me about your system, is that the points given for being a quarter of the relay added up to a pretty significant individual place, to where it would make it. And what we're talking about, for those that don't know, Coach Marsh is recognizing the individual high score each week.
Right. Which this past week, in week 1, was Addison Height with 20
Correct.
points.
And what I think that would make happen, as you and I were going back and forth, I think it makes it impossible for Brisa to win it, or much more difficult than if she was, because she's not on a relay.
She would almost have to run a third event. She could go gold and gold.
And when you're a distance kid, that third event's the 800. And when you have a meet that lasts 2 hours, you can't have a kid run a 2-mile 800 in a mile.
Well, they will get longer. That was, to my knowledge, our only running-only meet of the year. So this Thursday, Brisa should be running the 2-mile at around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then have a significant break between her next race.
Which we want kids in more events.
Oh, that'll be the next question.
But
it's coming.
Asking a kid that's running the 200 and the quarter to, hey, mix in the 100 is not as big of an ask as asking a distance person to, hey, mix in another half mile. Make it a 3.5 mile day of racing.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's half a mile more than they run on a cross-country day. I get it.
I had a kid, and I'm not going to throw him under the bus and name him by name, but he told me how awesome the 4x1 was, because you're really not that tired or sweating after your event, and it was great. So,
I mean,
judging by his...
It depends how you run it, if it's great or not. There's people that have used that same excuse while they were getting passed by everyone, and then there's other people who use that same excuse and they ran a heck of a leg of a sprint relay.
Yeah.
So it all depends on, I guess, overall production. But in any case, that was the first bit of minutia that I wanted to get bogged down with.
Can't wait to see what's next on your list.
High points. Now, I catch a lot of flack from you. Nobody else cares enough to give me flack except for you and Jeff. I'm sorry, Coach Price. And it's about the placement of athletes and the events that they run. And so point number 3 is where we are as a track program. And
I missed 2?
2 was the high point thing. 1 was track elite, 2 was high point.
Okay.
Now we're on 3.
All right, we blew right past number 1. Okay.
Well, it was easy.
Yeah.
It was just
way to build up.
Yeah, but this is where we are as a program for point number 3, and this will open up my perspective to you and Coach Price. And even though I know that it won't quiet y'all, you can at least understand where we're coming from. Where we are right now as a program is rebuilding. And I think that could be mutually agreed upon.
Yeah, and I, not to throw anyone under the bus that has come before you, but that's what I am excited about you being the head coach of girls track, is it already saw a marked improvement based on what we have not been, and I don't think I'm offending anyone. We have not been a track team that walks into the building and people like, wow, they're here to do something. Since pretty much Coach Williams left in the 90s. At that time, Pilot Point track, girls track was a threat. When people said they had fear. And I know you're trying to build that back up.
Right. That's the ultimate goal. And so where that starts is with a district focus as opposed to a state focus. And so we've talked before about what's the priority of a high school track coach. Is it to move people on to the next level, or is it to win championships? I think that you can do both. And I think in track they go hand in hand, actually, because it's really hard to move on to the next level if you're not winning championships because of the amount of scholarships given out. The money's just not there for track. I've had one kid in 15 years go anywhere on a track scholarship, and he won 7 gold medals at the state track meet, a bronze, and set 3 records.
But he did get a full ride?
He did get a full ride.
Yeah, it is rare. Most
and
you can
so,
take one full ride and give 4 quarters and get 4 people.
Yeah, and so I think that for me right now it's a district focus. The girls know because I tell them our goal right now is to win a district championship. That's what we want to do. And you should have seen the look on their face the first time I told them. They looked like, what is this guy doing? What's he talking about? But they've seen the success that we had at the Pilot Point meet, and judging by their workout this morning, I think they've embraced it. We found a new gear this morning. And so it's not that I don't want kids to be successful, but I also want the experience right now to be enjoyable to where we are building a program, where retention is up, where 100% of the girls that ran this year that don't graduate come back and run next year.
Sorry, get choked.
Yeah, I understand. I know it's moving.
It's so touching.
It's moving.
Good Lord.
But it starts with retention. We want 100% of the high schoolers that ran this year to come back and run next year. We want, as much of the 8th grade to come back. We want the 7th grade to repeat. And we want to keep girls in the program and not have the gradual fall off that happens from the freshman year to the senior year that every program experiences. We want to try to keep that retention rate up.
Well, you have a difficult task, track, more so than any sport, because it's not fun. It's not fun to work out and track.
No, it's not.
You can argue that football practice is fun and softball practice, all of the rest of them. There's not a lot fun.
Running hard to get faster is not something that there's no skill to practice. Well, there is. I mean, you have handoffs and you have things like that, but the meat of the practice is running hard and hurting your legs and hurting your lungs, and that's just what you have to do to get better. So where we are as a program right now is a district focus, where at times it'll look like a recreational track program. That doesn't mean that we've lost sight of a goal or that we're just here to have fun. It's just that we're in the midst of a rebuild, and the only way to start the rebuild is by making it appealing.
And building the team. I mean,
Yeah.
you go back to what I consider the bar at Pilot Point, which would be Cindy Williams. Every event had it maxed out participants. So that goes to your Lady Cat takeover. Explain to everybody what that is, and you can't win until you have a team.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
buy-in.
And I actually had one of the guys on the boys track team came up and asked me today. He goes, "What are you talking about with your hashtag Lady Cat Takeover?" And I said, it's exactly that. It's the Lady Cat Takeover. We're gonna take pride in what we're doing. We're going to outwork people, and the plan is it's a takeover. We want people to look at Pilot Point, Lady Cat track and field the same way they look at Bearcat football. I want people to understand that whenever we show up at the meet, even if they're better than us, we're going to give them all they want. They're going to get our best effort every time, and that we're in it to win it. Not just to go participate and have fun, but we're there to compete and try to win meet championships and try to win a district championship.
What's not fun about winning?
I love winning. It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, do you love winning or do you hate losing?
Wow, that's a tough one. Never thought about it that way.
I hate losing. Can't stand it. It drives me insane.
If we're talking about track, though, do you consider second? Are you like Ricky Bobby? If you ain't first, you're last?
The stopwatch doesn't lie.
So, because what I'm getting at, to further dissect your question, can you get second and get a PR?
And that's where I think the stopwatch doesn't lie. You can't scheme a track meet. You can't outcoach the other coach. I mean, you can do things like switch up your relay orders and play all those mind games, but at the end of the day, it's, are you faster?
Because I always think you're competing against yourself.
And
then we've all taken people competing against themselves and figured out a way to make a team sport and a game out of it.
Yeah.
But if you run your best every week and you PR, you have nothing to be disappointed about, whether that is 10th or first.
Yeah, and that's the stopwatch is the ultimate measuring stick. Did I run faster this week than I ran last week?
And that's what's beautiful, in my opinion, about track is it's tangible.
Yeah.
You can argue with your grandkids about who was faster. Now, yes, shoes may be different, surfaces may be different, but your quarter will stand against their quarter 50 years from
unless you're G.A. Morin, you will forever be the 100-yard record holder at Pilot Point High School.
Yeah.
Because we're never going to run 100 yards again.
Yeah.
But, that's the thing is, it's the time is always going to be the measuring stick because there's no other variables. Nobody cares if it was raining when you ran. Nobody cares if it was raining whenever you ran that meet or if it was windy or anything like that. All they know is the time, that you ran.
It's the only thing that lives on.
Yep.
And back to the Lady Cat takeover and you being the head coach of girls track, which is what has changed this podcast, but this is the first time in history of the podcast that we led with girls sports, and a majority of the podcast is going to be focused on girls sports.
Absolutely.
Which is right there a positive change.
Well, and it's easy because it's me.
Well,
if
good or bad, you're all we have. So.
Well, no, but if anybody else wanted to talk about their girls program, everybody knows our number.
Yeah, but you're the one still sitting here.
Right, yeah, for sure.
You can only talk about what you know.
Now that we got bogged down in a conversation that at least, it was productive in my opinion. Let's take a quick break and when we get back, let's talk about the Bearcat Relays.
Located in Pilot Point, Texas, the Chandler family has been making custom cabinets for over 40 years. As a team, Chandler Cabinets is committed to designing and building the perfect cabinets for you. They will make the process comfortable and stress-free by personally guaranteeing a superior product built on the standard of superior craftsmanship and immaculate customer satisfaction. From concept to completion, perfect form and function. Chandler Cabinets is an award-winning company with a reputation for consistent innovation at the highest level of design. You can find more information on Chandler Cabinets at chandlercabinets.net or on their Facebook page, Chandler Cabinets. Chandler Cabinets, 40 years of excellence.
Hi, I'm Greg Pelzel. Here at Pelzel Printing, we do custom embroidery, custom screen printing, and promotional product. You can reach Greg Pelzel at 940-453-5443. Go Bearcats.
All right, and big thank you to our sponsors. We always appreciate them. And we're going to lead off, and we're going to talk JV girls. We're going to mention their results pretty quickly before we get bogged down in the varsity. But I was extremely proud of my JV girls. There were some people down there that might not have been necessarily happy to be there, but they ran their tails off. A gold medal in the relay was big for those girls, and we had a lot of people that got medals that hadn't accumulated medals in the past. And so they finished third overall as a team to Callisburg and Gunner. However, we didn't run a sprint relay, which, as we have already discussed, it's a big chunk of points, and especially if only 2 schools ran it. So if I would have put one out there at all, if I'd have put a third, we would have gotten 8 points out of it. And so that actually would have had us jump Callisburg and been right behind Gunner for the overall championship there. So shout out to those girls. Lizette Sosa was one that I was extremely impressed with. She ran on both relays and then also got second in the 200. She was the fastest leg on both relays. And so that's one to keep your eye on. And then also Savannah Fowler pulled second place in the 100-meter dash. And I think that if she continues to improve, she's going to be one that's going to be on the move, maybe up to the varsity pretty soon.
Do you have the results in front of you?
I do.
Okay, because we had a winner. Did you say it and I missed it? We had an individual winner in the 400.
Brianna Crummy.
Okay.
Yes, she did. She ran very well, and she ran a strong leg on the mile relay as well. And so, I'm excited about that. That gives me hope. Knowing that we were putting a bunch of kids out there to even compete for a championship in the JV girls is a vast improvement with what we're trying to do with build numbers. But just the fact that we did that, and then we were also able to bring home a bunch of medals, it made the girls feel good, and you could see their faces lit up whenever we were eating our Nick's Italian, sponsorship available, Nick, that was brought to the stadium for us to eat after the meet. Passing out their medals, they were excited, and so that always makes me happy just to know that they're excited and that their hard work has paid off. Now, varsity-wise, we finished second overall in the meet to a very strong Gunner team. Okay, and a lot of people say, "Oh, very strong Gunner team." There's that coach speak trying to make that opponent look way better than. No, guys, they're good. They're stinking good. That's a deep track team that is well coached, and for a couple years now they've been really kind of on the rise. Their mile relay I was really impressed with. I think they won by maybe 150, 200 meters. They were on out there. But, starting off with our gold medal winners, the hurdle crew came through with 2 gold medals. Addison Height, she won the 300 hurdles, and then Kendall Korbacher won the 100 hurdles. We did make a slight mistake on our Twitter post and put 110 hurdles. I do apologize. I gave the graphics design department bad information.
Makes her look that much faster if she ran that in the 110s.
Well, I told her, I was like, I can't wait for you to actually run the 100 hurdles this week and see what you can do. But I was very impressed, and I know Korbacher, she didn't want to run the 300 hurdles, but she did. And she got 7th in our meet, but I really think that she could drop the bottom out of that thing. I'm excited about her in that event. I know that would be the worst thing that she would ever want to hear, because that means that she's going to keep running it.
Yeah.
But she did really well. Other than that, we placed second in every relay behind Gunner. Gunner won every relay. We were second. The good thing about that is we beat every school from our district that was at the track meet.
And that was a question I was going to ask, is these districts change all the time and they're hard to keep up with. Who is our district?
So it's going to be the same as our basketball, volleyball district, which is going to be Boyd, Paradise, Peaster, S&S, Callisburg, Whitesboro, us, and S&S. Those are going to be the 8 teams. And did I say Ponder?
I don't recall.
I think I said
hearing
S&S
you say
twice. But in any case, Ponder's in there. So, it's those same schools, and so we haven't seen Boyd, Paradise, or Valley View yet. I know Boyd has an excellent distance runner. That's all that I know that Boyd has. That doesn't mean that they don't have anything else, but that's just kind of the known. Overall, I think our girls ran really well. They competed, which is what I asked them to do. Go out there and just give your best effort, put down a good time, and see what happens. And so, as it warms up and as we have more practices than just 3, I really expect us to kind of drop the bottom out of some of these times, and I think we have a great starting point. Though it's a starting point that can be improved on, which is the good thing, but it's not a starting point that's so bad and so far out of reach that we're not going to be in contention. I wanted us to kind of run a 4:30-mile relay. That's what we had kind of as a goal, and we ran a 4:36. However, the conditions were not optimal to run a fast time. And so I really didn't. I wasn't concerned about that. I think it just now we just need to go to about 4:28. We need to drop 8 seconds instead of 2. Very doable. Girls just have to get after it, and they will. I know they will. I was, like I said, I've been very impressed with their work ethic. With my first real foray into girls sports here in Pilot Point, they work hard and they get after it. We have a bunch of good girls. So go ahead, poke holes in what we're doing, or
No, I'm not gonna poke holes yet. But I do. The results, and for those, I know everyone's always interested in results. You got those to me pretty quickly, and we got those out on the Bearcat page. I know that you're sending them to Texas Mile Split. I think you said this morning that the format was wrong.
Yeah, the spreadsheet format that we used was incorrect, so I'm just going to have to resend them and copy and paste and move stuff around, but it'll just be a process.
Which is a good thing for those of you that don't know. It's tx.milesplit.com. That is the end-all be-all.
It's the Texas football of Texas track.
It is. Or those of you that are really old like me, it used to be Texas Track and Field News.
Yeah. Whenever early in my coaching career, it was TexasTrack.com.
Yeah.
Was a big one that accumulated results from everywhere, and you could go and find out what everybody was doing.
Well, this is where you can go to find it out, and I'm glad you're getting that on there, because I do think we have some kids that are going to be in the top 10 in 3A just based off what we ran Thursday, which is a good start.
Well, it is, and if they continue to get better, big things
another way to build
come.
excitement for the track team.
Absolutely. And thank you to you for working your tail off and getting all these graphics out and news out. I know on Twitter at PP Bearcat Blog, and then possibly on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, so I don't know.
Facebook's always first.
But the results from boys and girls, with a little bit of write-up from Coach Peacock, did the boys write-up, I did the girls write-up, and, I'm not going to talk a whole bunch about the boys because that's not the group that I'm in control of. But I will say, from a person that was at the meet and working the meet and, involved with the meet, I thought it was a good starting point for the boys as well.
I went 1-2 in the 800. It was like the old days.
And then won the sprint relay. Aiden, outran Gunner's anchor leg and leaned him at the line, so that was exciting.
Yeah, which was awesome. And I don't know, I had some people ask, beating Gunner used to be a big deal. I assume Gunner's still the same.
They're okay. You never know who was missing because of a baseball tournament and stuff like that. With baseball being a real big deal at Gunner. And speaking of baseball being a big deal at Gunner, the Bearcats beat them 7-4 in tournament on Saturday in baseball. But anytime you can win a relay, and like I said, it's the first meet, so it's a starting point. I think our time is an excellent starting point for the track season, and we'll just have to see how it progresses from there.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought the boys competed really well. There were some surprises for sure. The one that comes to mind is the Shelton kid, Alex Shelton, with the 800. Him dropping a 212 that doesn't put him in Mendoza range. But
Far from it,
but it's a great start.
Yeah.
If he drops 2 seconds a meet, he'll end up right at about 2 minutes at area.
Yeah.
And if you're at 2 minutes,
you're
in the conversation.
Adrenaline could help you at that point.
Yeah, you're in the conversation at the big meets. Now 2 minutes isn't going to probably get you to Austin, and if you get to Austin, 2 minutes won't get you at the front of the field, but it will get you somewhere where you're going to have a shot to make some noise. And so, kudos to them. And I thought, again, sprint relay, I thought went well.
Tristan won the quarter.
He did.
52-30.
And that's a decent time for this weather and early in the season. It might not be where he wanted to be on a personal level, but you have to start somewhere. This time isn't the important time. What you run the first track meet is not the important time. If you run slower or the same the second track meet, now we're in the danger zone. He just needs to focus on chopping off just a little bit every meet, get half a second better. Do something like that and set goals, and then work your tail off to achieve them. So, Coach Peacock and the boys staff, they've done an excellent job, getting those boys ready for the first meet, and then we'll continue to get better.
Where's the next meet?
Be in Whitesboro on Thursday. And I don't know who all's going to be there. It gets kind of weird with all the COVID rules about who can do what, and I don't even know enough to speak on them.
That leads me to questions about the meet that some people had.
Okay.
Speaking of COVID, I know that's the answer before I ask the question. Why split the boys and girls meet up?
If we ran them all together, we would have only been able to have four teams.
4 teams.
Yeah, because of the way that it's set up. So by splitting the boys and the girls meet and having 2 separate track meets, it allowed us to have a track full for Pilot Point, which is only 7 lanes, not 8. And then Sacred Heart was a late cancellation due to girls basketball.
Is that the way that the next meet's going to be, or the ones down the road split?
To our knowledge, we're the only ones that did it.
Okay.
I think what you can look forward to on Thursday is a 4-team meet, which I must say I'm not a fan of. I know it's a meet, but man, let's load the track up and compete. I would rather have 8 teams out there.
I think that helps you get better.
Yeah.
When you've got more competitive people.
Well, and it's one of those things that it's going to be kind of shrouded in fog. As the season progresses and as some of our girls improve, there might be some different opportunities available to run in some bigger meets.
Well, and back to distance, like that mile, early it looked good because it was a pack, which is what distance runners need. Normally they don't see and get used to running in pack running until it matters.
Oh, and it's strange. It's a different animal.
And it's nice for them to have to deal with that early to know where not to be.
God, thank God we combined those miles so they could see it.
Yeah.
If everybody could only see the eye roll.
Well, I'm just going to let it go. I'm sure we'll have it for the next 3 meets, too. What about that leads me to another question, and it's COVID related. Why is the season 25% over? Meaning, why is there only 4 meets?
Well, there's multiple layers to that problem.
Well, let's peel the onion.
So we'll peel it back. First, we have to start with first before we can get to second. Is you start with the district certification date as your endpoint. So that's where all right, I have to be, that's the end of my regular season, and then area, and then regional, and then state. You start there and you start scheduling backwards. Spring break, we don't run a meet. I've been at other schools in the past where you run a meet on spring break and it ends up just making you really mad because 2 of your 4 legs of your relay are gone, and then you try to get some alternates, and you don't have any alternates. So then you end up taking 6 girls, and everybody runs an individual, and nobody runs well because they weren't there for the first week of the workout. And it's a beating. It really is. And so we made the decision to not do that to ourselves, which I don't mind it. I could see a situation where maybe some of our kids run unattached at another meet if they could find a way in. But that has to come to fruition basically on their own. Since it's unattached, that means it's not affiliated with us. I wouldn't have a problem with that. If any girl told me, hey, Coach Marsh, I really want to run over spring break, so we called Justin Northwest, and they said that we could get in as a hurdler, a miler, or whatever. Man, go for it. Tell me how you did. Maybe I'll go and watch if I'm available. Second thing is with your start date being the last week of February for the season, that's just a scheduling thing. We're not trying to overschedule with basketball. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what happened. I, in the past, have scheduled meets earlier because you have a lot of track kids who don't play basketball. I don't necessarily think track is a big draw for kids to say, I can't wait to be done with basketball so I can go run. It's not like any of these other sports where there's a pull of, well, we don't want to be doing this because it's going to work against the other sport. I think track, you're safe. So, I just think that by scheduling the way we scheduled and starting our first meet as late as we started it, that's just kind of what you get. I know in 2011 in Sanger, we ran our first track meet at the end of January, which means that we got in our full 8 meets before district, or with district being the 8th meet. I don't remember what the rule was at the time. But we ran a full slate with no breaks, no, layoff, no short season. The other part of it is, and the God honest truth, is track is a dying sport. Track's a dying, and this is just my opinion, hot button topic here. Track's a dying sport because the coaches that people put in charge of track teams don't care about track. They're not track coaches. They're just the guy that got assigned to be the track coach, and so they really don't care. They don't want to go to meets. That's why Saturday meets have died off. Is not because kids don't want to run them. It's because coaches are too lazy to go to them. It takes up your whole Saturday. You're there from 6 in the morning to 9 at night.
As much as I like to throw track coaches under the bus, club sports has played a part in killing Saturday meets too.
Well, it has, but they're out there.
Yeah. Oh, they're out there.
I ran 2 of them at Valley View in 2018 as a whole team.
Yeah.
If you want to find them, you can go find them. But are you willing to sacrifice your Saturday to go find that meet?
Yeah.
And there's too many guys that are head track coaches, and they just got put there because there was nothing else to do. And I think that's something that people should be a little bit more thankful for here in Pilot Point, is that I love track, and the girls' side is in my opinion good hands. For what it's worth, Coach Peacock might not have been a track guy. I don't think he would be confused with a track guy, but he loves it. And he's knowledgeable, and he has a workout plan, and I see it every morning on the table, the calendar of his workouts, and he does it the right way. And so we're fortunate here to have not somebody who's just a placeholder on either side. But I think that track's a dying sport because people just don't want to make it a priority.
Next hard-hitting question. I love the fact that I have everybody's favorite head coach in front of me so I can fire shots. And not only was I wondering this, actually someone asked on the Facebook page,
okay,
are we de-emphasizing field events? And it's not because we had a running only meet. There's no high jump mat on the track. There's no pole vault set up.
I don't have a pole vaulter. I don't know if the boys do or not. So I have no interest if pole vault's set up or not, because it doesn't mean anything to the girls' side.
Totally dumb fan question, I guess.
Okay.
Guy that's not on your side of the table. How are you ever going to have a pole vaulter if the opportunity's not there to pole vault?
For one, you have to have someone who's capable of pole vaulting. It's not an event that you just stick somebody in.
I agree with that.
Long jump, I'll fill up long jump every week.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have 2 legs? Can you run and can you jump as far as you can? Cool, you're a long jumper. And we'll get better as we go. You can't just do that with pole vault.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I mean, I wish you could because nobody does it, which means you're probably going to go 2nd, 4th, and 5th at district and get 14 points.
Yeah.
But it's not just something that you can just throw somebody out there, toss them the pole, and say, all right, so you're going to get your mark, and then you're going to run, and you're just going to jab the pole into the end of that hole and just kind of, ride the pole. Maybe you get over it, maybe you don't. No big deal. There's way too much to it that can get the athlete hurt, the spectator hurt, the other athletes around hurt, and even people that are accomplished pole vaulters, i.e. Chris Sipe, can still get hurt, and they know what in the world they're doing. So
what about high jump?
High jump, I don't know, because I do have 2 girls that are going to high jump. I know we don't put them out for that home running meet because we don't want people to make it the luxury seating
Yes.
Right there on the first curve of the track. And so you're going to have to hold that thought. We have to take a Malaya potty break real quick. All right, back from bathroom break. But with the high jump mats, really the reason why they weren't out as opposed to just the priority seating there on Thursday was the time period that all this stuff should have been going out and getting done and all the hurdles getting put in their right periods. We were in sub-zero temperatures and iced out.
Yeah, and before that we were in COVID shutdown, right? We went from COVID shutdown to winter storm.
And basketball season, and so it would be a legitimate complaint if we hadn't had so many weird things happen.
So I can complain about it April 15th if the mats aren't out.
You can complain about it Thursday.
Okay.
I plan on having high jumpers on Thursday.
Okay.
Because, we're going to get better at the meet because we just haven't had time to invest in it. But,
because if you're selling out to we're going to have a dominant girls track team.
Yeah.
When we walk into the building, we want to be the DeSoto of 3A.
Yeah.
We want people to look, say, wow, pilot points here. I guess we're shooting for, actually not second. We're shooting for 4th because they're going to take top 3 in all the events. You've got to field events.
You do. And the problem, man, and there's no way around it. And just understand, people that are listening, that I'm not trying to degrade anything that came before me. I'm not trying to blame.
But just like in the other casts we've had post-game, we can't talk about something and how we did without being able to point out how we're different. I mean, you can't discuss the topic without discussing the past.
The present and the future has to do with what happened in the past. And, you
wouldn't be here if it was the DeSoto of 3A. You wouldn't be the girls' track coach.
No, you're right. But, you came out to the track one day this week. I don't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and we were doing blocks. And, it's a fundamental thing. And we're having to reteach it. Triple jump, that's going to be a work in progress. Pole vault, man, it's a work in progress. Everything's going to be a work in progress, but
well, and that's why it's so hard to find a track coach, like you were talking about. And even if you find a track coach, there's so many different disciplines involved in the umbrella of track. You still can't find someone that knows how to do everything. No,
but when you're in my shoes and you have a completely competent staff with you, God, it makes things easy.
Yeah. When you're trying to please someone like me that wants to complain and have a dominant track team in every aspect.
And the good thing is the 4 coaches that we have are all on board with that. Coach Price does an excellent job with the distance runners, which is good. That's not something that's my strong suit. I've always I've been very fortunate over my career as a head track coach to have really good distance coaches with me. If it was Coach Davidson at Valley View, Coach Davidson's nephew, Clint Davidson, when I was at Sanger. The times that I've had a dominant track team, I had an excellent distance coach to go with me because that's such a big part of having a dominant track team. I knew every time we showed up to a track meet that I was going to get probably 60 points from distance with Coach Davidson.
Yeah.
And for what I want to do, which is my measure of success, which is winning track meets, that pays huge dividends.
Makes your job easier.
It does. And where we are as a staff, nobody knows anything about pole vault. So we're gonna struggle there, just because I know enough about pole vault to get somebody hurt.
It's about how much I know.
Yeah, I know enough to where they might get off the ground, and then I don't know where they're going to go from there.
Yeah.
And so, with things like that, and the next thing is just numbers in general. I'm hurting for shot put and disc.
It's this live coverage of Coach Marsh staring at Malaya
as two pins are playing on the desk. And until I put the pressure on myself of having success early. Realistically, this year isn't the year to have success. This should be a rebuilding year through and through. But I like everything that I do, and you've spent enough time around me in the past year and a half, is my preference is to build the plane as I fly it and figure it out on the hop and always expect excellence, even if there's no reason that we should be having it. And that's the only way I know how to do things. Okay? And so that's the... that's the expectation. That's what I fully expect. And we'll figure it out as we go. As you know, I'm putting it out on Twitter all the time to... we want girls. Just because track season has started, we're not done taking kids. I will
still accepting applications.
I will accept applications all the way up until the district track meet. If that means that we can get our numbers up and people can come have an experience, and for those people that are interested, ask the girls that are doing it if it's something that they want to be involved in. And right now, I think so. Is it hard? Of course it's hard. We do have a good time, though, and we have an enjoyment about the work, at least. And so, yeah. I don't know how we got to this point with the conversation. High jump mats.
High jump mats and
yes.
field events.
But no, it is a focus. That's a big part of wanting to accomplish what we're doing is the field events.
Let's take a break.
It's good.
Do some parenting.
Yes.
And we'll be back.
Since 1983, the Scott Walker Insurance Agency has been covering the insurance needs of Pilot Point. Regardless of what that need may be, they have you covered, offering homeowners, auto, life, farm and ranch, and commercial. Give them a call at 940-686-2692. That's Germania Insurance, the Scott Walker Insurance Agency, located just north of the town square at 211 Scott Lane in Pilot Point, Texas. Scott Walker Insurance Agency, always there to help.
We want to wish our varsity cheerleader, Abby, a great senior year. Love Mom, Dad, and Michael.
Puzzle Barbershop and Salon and Southern Junkies has been home of the Bearcats since 1973. Whether you are looking for a classic crew cut or the perfect game day outfit, we have you covered. We carry a few fan favorite brands including Hey Dude Shoes, Judy Blue Jeans, Z Supply Clothing, and Orleans Candle Company. Come check us out on the north side of the square in downtown Paula Point or online at www.southernjunkies.com, and that is junkies with a Z. And don't forget, go Bearcats!
All right, now back from word from our sponsors. We did broadcast the track meets.
We did.
And we had an issue.
Yes, we should have led with it, and we owe an apology to you, head girls track coach, and the girls fans and track elites.
Yeah.
We lost signal, I believe, after the 800. And then we didn't get it back till pretty late.
I know I discovered the error whenever one of my quarter milers wanted to watch her 400, and she's like, I can't find it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, seriously? And then I went and we had a jump.
Yeah.
But still awesome that we were able to see it at all, boys and girls meet, and had good participation. And I think that the girls like to go back and watch their races. And
who doesn't?
whatnot. But, our high point award for the week was Addison Height. She scored 20 points. She was a leg on a second-place mile relay, and then she got third in the 800, and then she won the 300 hurdles, and so that adds up to her 20 points, and so hats off to her. And, I'm excited about Whitesboro. Your fear whenever you come out and have success, limited success at that early, is that I don't want that to be the high point of our season. And it could be.
But if you define it like we said earlier, you define your success measured against your past performance, then you can have success even if it doesn't equal team success.
Yeah, and that's where we are.
Yeah.
The stopwatch is our competition, and our times from this past week are the competition. And so it looks like it's going to be a little bit better weather on Thursday. Looking forward to some field events, and getting after it and trying to find the pieces to kind of fit that puzzle together. And we're just going to keep working hard and getting better.
Sounds fun. I will be there.
Yes, camera in hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, no live broadcast. It's not a home event, so it won't come from us.
We are available, Whitesboro.
Yeah.
If you want us to.
We'll even stream it on WhitesboroBearcats.com.
We can. Or Borough Tough.
Either one.
Yeah.
As always, big thank you to our sponsors for the podcast, Chandler Cabinets, Pelzel Printing, Southern Junkies, Ashley Marsh Photography, Dana Walker with Germania Insurance, and the Pilot Point Post Signal. Without the generous support of those sponsors, we wouldn't bring you this track report. And so, Bearcat fans, support your local businesses like they support us. And as always, go Bearcats.
Ho, ho, ho.